What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by Dilly Vanilli. We are here to discuss the Lions-Packers week number 9 Monday Night Football game. If you guys enjoyed the game, let us know in the live comments or the comments after the fact. If you're watching this after the fact, we do this every single week. Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night football here live on the Bottom Line View. If you enjoy that type of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And hit that like button as well. Lets us know that you support us and that you like this type of video. So we had the Lions. We had the Packers shellacking by the Detroit Lions in a game that kind of went the way I expected, to be honest. When I looked at the line this week for this game, the Lions were only minus 2 points. It ended at minus 2.5.
What?
And I understand that the Lions they had this whole curse to them where the Packers were, they couldn't beat the Packers in Lambeau. They couldn't beat the Packers in Lambeau. But you're talking about a Brett Hundley-led Green Bay Packers team that strengths are their receivers, their offensive line, and basically their offensive skill positions. And we're talking about a team that no longer has a quarterback to distribute them the ball. So I was talking about this to AC on the Gridiron Gamble when we were talking about this being the bet of the week, which it indeed was, which I indeed won money on, which I'm happy about. But like the Packers have negated their strengths by having Brett Hundley at quarterback now. Now, that's not their fault. Obviously, this team is built around Aaron Rodgers. And that's the problem. When Aaron Rodgers is injured, they can't win games because everything is built around Aaron Rodgers. They have the receivers for Aaron Rodgers to throw to. They have the offensive line to protect Aaron Rodgers. Besides that, they don't have a defense that can really do much. I mean, they didn't even force a punt in this game. They can't run the football. So they don't have anything to help Brett Hundley, a young quarterback, out to really win a game against the Lions. So this kind of went the way expected, 30-17. Stafford lit it up. The Lions offense looked really good. We'll get into the reasons why that was and how the Lions project into the future and if they're going to make the playoffs or not. Both teams are 4-4. And yeah, we'll get into the individual performances as we do. Make sure in that comment section letting us know what you think. But first off, let's get Dilly Vanilli's thoughts on the game.
Yes, and by the way, we will get to everybody's comments. I know yesterday was a cluster in the comment section. But for today's game, I don't really understand why Kev picked the Packers. I didn't see where he was coming from because the thing is, it's like Mitch said, without your guy, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose these big games. And they pulled up the impressive stat chart of quarterbacks with Mike McCarthy. Of course, they went well with the last couple of seasons with Brett Favre. They've done really, really well with Aaron Rodgers. But you look at the people that have had to do it without him. Matt Flynn is the only quarterback to even get 500, 3-3. And every other quarterback has lost every single game they've started. Now, it wasn't much. There's not much sample size. But, I mean, of course, you're backing up Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy that usually makes those plays, and Brett Hundley wasn't able to make those plays. They didn't really open the playbook for him. He did not throw a lot of yards in the first half, considering how many completions he had. I think he had one more completion than Matthew Stafford, and he had over 50 yards less than Stafford in passing. Eventually, he got to throw the ball down the field a little bit more in the second half, but it restricted them. And then the defense, Blake Martinez, the only healthy linebacker that they have, they couldn't bring pressure whatsoever to Matthew Stafford. And when Matthew Stafford has 4 or 5 seconds to get down, look at the whole field and either throw to Golden Tate or Marvin Jones, he's going to be able to pretty much kill your defense. So the only thing I was questioning was whether or not the Lions were going to be able to drive it down the field and score. And while they got 3 field goals, I don't think it was that big of a deal considering they also got 3 touchdowns, 2 to Marvin Jones. So good stuff for the Lions today, pretty much how I expected it.
How big of a win was this for you in terms of the Lions? Does this change your opinion of the Lions going forward? Now they're at 4-4. They're in the race to get to that wild card spot. What do you think of the Lions right now? Is this a game-changing win, or is this just a win?
Well, they did save their season, because if they lost this game, I thought their season would have been done at 3-5. But I think now you look at this team as they're on the outside looking in, but they increased their chances, because I'm looking at their schedule. They play the Browns next week, which should give them a victory. That's 5-4. We'll put them over 500. They play the Bears, which you never know. That could give them a victory. And then they play the Vikings on Thanksgiving. That is a huge matchup for them that they're going to need. So if they want to win or even get close to that wild card or that division, they're going to have to win these next 2 games. But from this performance, it increases their chances. I'm still not 100% yet, though.
All right. So, yeah, I kind of look at the Lions a little bit different. I think I look at the Lions as a team that, and I said this in the predictions video, this was obviously a big game for them. They needed to win, but the Lions played arguably the most difficult schedule to start off this season, the first 7 games that they played, and they had a lot of close games that they easily could have won. You know, there's a couple that stick out. They should have probably beat the Steelers last week if they could have executed in the red zone. They played Atlanta, which if it weren't for a runoff penalty, which is the dumbest rule ever, they should have won that game as well. So you would have been looking at a team with only 2 losses coming into this game, looking at one of the more dominant teams in the NFC. Instead, they're now at 4-4, and they're kind of in the middle of the pack, and they're fighting for a wild card spot. And looking at the Lions' schedule, unlike a lot of teams in wild card positions for both the NFC and AFC, there are teams with a lot of difficult matchups going forward. And for me, I looked at the Lions schedule, and I feel like every single one of their games is winnable. Their toughest game is probably against the Vikings, but they already played and beat the Vikings. So there is a chance that they beat them again. It's unlikely that you beat a division opponent twice, but that's their most difficult game. So looking at that schedule as a whole, they could easily find their way in at 10-6, 11-5. And only lose 1 or 2 games the rest of the way. I realistically think that. So it's going to be interesting. I think you can throw the Lions into that conversation for that wild card spot as well. So let's get to the statistics for this game. Of course, 30-17. The Lions take it. Big game for Matthew Stafford. And the offense, they did not punt once. I'm sure you heard that stat that they threw out there. 26 for 33, 361 yards, 10.9 yards per completion, 2 touchdowns, only sacked once, and had a passer rating of 132.4. Near perfect day for Stafford, made a ton of throws, made a number of key, huge throws on 3rd down, where he put it in a very nice spot that was pretty much undefendable, right on the money, against tight man coverage. Packers tried to play that style, and they couldn't get away with it, and Stafford, beat them down the field early on, and that was really the difference. The Lions were able to get out to a lead, which the Packers, the reason why they took that ball right away is because they needed that lead in order to get out to play the style that they wanted to. Instead, the Lions got out to that lead, and pretty much from there on out, they had control of the game. They went up 7-0 in the first quarter. It was 7-3 for the Lions in the second quarter, making it 14-3 at half. Then there was 17-3. So pretty much going into the fourth quarter, it was pretty much already a wrap. We knew Brett Hundley wasn't really going to come back from there. Speaking of Brett Hundley, 25 for 38, 245 yards, 6.4 yards per completion, sacked 3 times, which might be a season high for the Lions, considering they came into the game with only 12 or 13 sacks. And Hundley had an 86 passer rating, which isn't terrible. It's not great. But when examining both their performances, we could tell that Stafford made a lot more key throws for his team. He put his team in a position to win. He made plays himself. Brett Hundley was using a lot of scheme plays that the Packers drew up for him, and it's not really his fault for him to make. He threw a lot of short passes into the flat, some screen passes, some like design plays to get the ball to the guy really quickly so that he can run after the catch, that sort of things outside of the pocket. And they were trying to use his skill set the best they could. He's just not at the level of quarterbacking that they need him to be, like Aaron Rodgers level, for them to be a competitive, good football team. So you can't really blame a guy like Brett Hundley. What did you think of both of the performances from both quarterbacks?
Matthew Stafford played a really good game. He got some good throws. What was the term that John Gruden called out here in the game? What was it? The turkey bullshit, where you know what I'm talking about? There's the one throw where the receiver goes between the corner and the safety. You may have missed it.
I might have missed it.
Okay. They called it some kind of turkey thing. Somebody in the chat tell me, because this is what he called it. But he's able to make good passes in between coverage where two people, you're like, I don't know if you should be making that throw, but he throws bullets. And
he's done that for years. The thing is with Matt Stafford is that his throw power, like his arm strength, allows him to make some throws that other quarterbacks wouldn't be able to make. Like, that's the difference between – you've seen it with Eli Manning, like the diminishing quality of his arm. Like, he throws ducks sometimes. It takes that much longer for him to get the ball from point A to point B, which allows the defense to collapse on the receiver, blah, 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 blah. And that's what, like, older quarterbacks that still have that touch, like Tom Brady, still has the arm strength in order to get the ball from point A to point B at an elite level. When you lose that arm strength, you're no longer an elite quarterback. I think that's something that he really has by himself from the very beginning that has allowed him to become this quarterback that we see today with Matt Stafford.
Yeah, and he's always been one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, and seeing some of the plays that he made were very impressive. Third down conversions tonight were huge. 8 of 13. 4 of those, they settled for a field goal attempt, or they made 3 of them, missed 1 of them, and I believe another was a fumble. I don't know how the 5th one came about because they didn't punt. So, but for the Lions, Matthew Stafford made the right plays, made good throws on third down, especially used his 2 receivers, Golden Tate and Marvin Jones, to pretty much top-notch effectiveness. And he looked very effective getting it done. 361 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, good stuff. I really like the performance from him. For Hundley, they were really restricting him in the first half. They didn't want to go to the playbook that much, so they used a lot of passes. That first quarter, I think he threw 8 passes, and only 2 of them – actually, he threw for 10. Only 2 of them were past the line of scrimmage. There were a bunch of bubble screens and short passes, and I was like, this is confusing. If you want to win this game, you can't be just doing that with guys like Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson. I know those are great receivers.
Wait, who is this? Nordy Jelson?
Nordy Jelson, I think is his name. Yeah, very ineffective. Maybe I don't know. But
who?
Yeah, this Jordy Nelson fellow? Jordy Nelson. I was like, these are 3 really good receivers, and I know you need a good quarterback to make these plays, but you're not really helping him if you're going to go, oh, here's a bubble screen, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, like Devontae Adams, looking at his numbers right now, he is an outside receiver that typically doesn't run a ton of underneath routes. He had 7 receptions for 53 yards. That's 7.6 yards per catch.
Amazing.
If Devontae Adams had Aaron Rodgers throwing in the ball for 7 catches, if he had 7 catches with Aaron Rodgers, he would have had something more like at least 80 yards. At least.
Well, and it was confusing for me. I'm like, why? Why do you think this is a good idea if you're Mike McCarthy?
No, I understand what they're trying to do. Like, I guess they don't have – I think the problem that we're seeing here is that they don't have enough faith in Hundley to be that quarterback that can throw the ball down the field.
Well, at least give him the chance. Yeah, you can't prove anything if you're going to go, oh, well, here's every play is a bubble screen. But to their credit, they figured out in the second half that they need to try to win this football game, attempt to show it on Monday Night Football. So they decided, we'll give you a couple of passes down the field, and he was able to make some good throws. Nothing too great, but I like some of the plays that he was making. He made a couple of first down runs, so that was good for him. He's always been good at that, especially when he was down in UCLA. But it was an okay performance. It was limited, but he wasn't able to make the plays that obviously Aaron Rodgers would make.
Okay, well, this part of the game doesn't help him because they have no run game.
No, not at all.
Montgomery, 5 carries, 33 yards. That was mostly like, I guess, near the end of the game. We saw a lot of Aaron Jones at the beginning, and he was pretty much stood up, 5 carries for 12 yards. Hundley himself had 4 carries for 22 and a touchdown, and that's pretty much it. So 17 carries in total, 78 yards, a 4.6 yards per carry, but you factor in that 5.5 yards per carry from Brett Hundley and 6.6 for Ty Montgomery when a lot of that yardage didn't matter too much. Jamal Williams also had a 1-yard touchdown near the end of the game. And for the Lions, even worse. This has been a Lions issue for a very long time. But one, they don't have a running back that can consistently carry the ball. Number 2, they're not very good at run blocking. And this is part of the reason why their offense struggles when it does struggle. It's because they don't have a consistent running game that they can rely on. It puts a lot of pressure on their offensive line to pass block as well. And it's just too predictable. You know what they're going to do because you know that they can't run the ball. So Abdullah had another game where he had a ton of attempts and a ton of opportunity, but he didn't really turn that into anything. 21 carries, 48 yards, and 2.3 yards per carry, and a touchdown in this game. He probably should have had another touchdown in this game, but he fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line, and the Lions luckily got it back. But he probably should have had a couple touchdowns in this game. I did appreciate the fact that the Lions were trying to run the football into the end zone because we've realized that the Lions are very good in the red zone, and a huge reason for that is because they can't run in the red zone. If they can establish the run in the red zone, that will make them a lot more effective when they get there. But again, they can't really do that. So, and Amir Abdullah fumbling the ball doesn't help. Theo Riddick had 5 carries for 11 yards. A lot of that came when Abdullah was benched. He was benched, by the way. Dwayne Washington, 5 carries for 1 yard.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, 5 carries for 1 yard. That is an average of 0.2 yards per carry.
Ooh, that's sexy right there.
So in total, 33 carries, 64 yards, 1.9 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown.
Holy shit.
Okay, I got 2 questions for you.
Okay,
yeah, 2 questions, I guess. What is the solution to the Lions running game? And number 2, should Amir Abdullah be benched in turn for a different runner?
Okay, to answer the first question, I think they need to go draft somebody this draft. I really do think they need to go get somebody explosive because I brought this setup before, and I'll put it out there for everybody. The amount of games that Matthew Stafford has been quarterback and their running back has rushed for 100 yards in a game is 7. This man's been in the league for 8, 9 seasons. So that's a little less than 1 a season. How? How is this team doing it? Like, Matthew Stafford has to carry the load for this kind of thing. Let me give an example.
I think Dak already has like double that.
He might. You're talking about Zeke though, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, Dak has double the games.
Oh, double the
have, like 100-yard rusher games.
Because Zeke got it in, I think, 12 games last year. Yeah, it was already last season. So, I'll give you an example. And I was going to use the Cowboys example, but not that example. Tony Romo, when he was the quarterback, a lot of the time during that stretch that he was, visibly good, had some good seasons, he didn't have a running game. His running game was Marion Barber and Felix freaking Jones, which wasn't great, let's be honest. But when DeMarco Murray was there, it took off some of the time so where, Tony Romo didn't have to carry everything on his shoulders. He could hand the ball off on first down and get gains of yards instead of going backwards. So it let off the horse or the workload for Tony Romo, and it got them one of their best seasons in a long time with that 2014 season. Here, Matthew Stafford's still doing well, but if your running back is running 21 times and getting 48 yards, somebody must be fired. Go for Ronald Jones. The second question, you said Amir Abdullah, should he be benched? Hopefully not for my fantasy team, considering he is my only running back on one team. But I don't know. Theoretic is not really the answer either. You know what I mean? I think they're going to have to keep with Amir Abdullah.
My question is, why don't they give Zach Zenner a try?
Like they did last year?
Yeah, I mean, like,
is he?
at least
I didn't even know.
At least get split carries with him and Abdullah. I think part of the reason Abdullah is not effective is because he carries the ball 21 times. I don't think he's made to carry the ball 21 times.
Well, is he? I didn't even know Zach Zenner was on the team.
Yeah, he didn't even play in this game. That's my question. Why does he not play more?
I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense. Considering Monday Night Football last year, he got to show up his game, that one big game. But I don't know.
Okay, receivers. Golden Tate and Marvin Jones put on a show, both over 100 yards, both 7 receptions. Marvin Jones also had 2 touchdowns in the game. They accounted for 20 targets in this game out of 33.
Holy shit.
113 for Tate, 107 for Jones. Great games for both of them. Golden Tate came clutch on a few third downs. Marvin Jones was that guy to get them in the end zone, and both had complementary good games. And that's what they've been looking for from these two receivers, is to play complementary roles. Golden Tate really good after the catch, which they brought up numerous times. He's mostly that slot guy, kind of like the Edelman Landry role, where he gets that ball at 5 yards, he makes it into 12 yards. Always awesome to watch, always clutch in that regard. Marvin Jones has really played a lot better football over the last few weeks, and they're going to need him to, because that's been a huge complaint for me for Detroit. They don't really have receivers that win their matchups one-on-one. They don't really have receivers, other than Tate, I should say, that really stand out and that make a difference and that are always open for their quarterback. Marvin Jones has started to do that. Now, I think that the thing here, we still see the Detroit offense struggle a little bit when they play good defenses with good corners, because then they're able to kind of match up one-on-one and play man. The problem is the Packers tried to do that because they knew that was how to beat the Lions. But they couldn't do it because their corners aren't good enough to do it. Like, I think that one King is pretty good, in my opinion. The rookie, he's decent. He's probably their best corner. But besides that, they don't really have anyone that really it can cover a guy's one-on-one. There's just a bunch of bums out there. Besides that, Theo Riddick, 4 catches, 62 yards, did his thing. Ebron, 3 catches for 35 yards, maybe gaining a little bit more confidence. TJ Jones, 2 for 29. Fells, 1 for 10. Abdullah, 1 for 9. Then for the Packers, we had Cobb, 5 catches for 58 yards. Adams, 7 for 53. Nelson, 4 for 35. None of these guys gaining touchdowns, by the way. Kendricks, 2 for 32. Jamal Williams, 2 for 31. Montgomery, 1 for 18. And then a bunch of other guys with 1 catch. Any guys stand out in terms of Green Bay? Any thoughts on the Detroit receivers? Pretty much just he went to Adams because Nelson was being covered by Slay. That's pretty much all I got for that. What did you think of the receivers for both sides?
For Detroit, I mean, huge effectiveness when it comes to being Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. They played great games. Both got 7 catches. Tate 113, Marvin Jones 107. Marvin Jones kind of stepped up in a big way today. They need him to, like you said. He's a nice second receiver because coming into the season, we're like, oh, it's all about Golden Tate. It's all about what Golden Tate's going to do. He's going to be their number 1 receiver. But Marvin Jones made sure that he can be a reliable target to Matthew Stafford, and even had more targets than Golden Tate in this game. He had 11 compared to Golden Tate's 9. So that's good stuff for Marvin Jones. 2 great touchdown catches. Really, really good touchdown catches. Golden Tate, the most effective after the catch receiver in the league, getting a lot of yards after the catch. That's good for them. And you like to see that. Their averages are 16.1 and 15.3. That's good. Theo Riddick is always a running back threat when it comes to the receiver option. 62 yards on 4 catches. That'll always be good. I mean, he had a very high long, but you get what I mean. They use him effectively with that receiver option, and it's nice to see. So Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, I really like what I saw out of them. That's going to be necessary if they're going to beat some of the more high-octane really good defenses down the road. For Green Bay, they kind of got stifled with the fact that Brett Hundley wasn't able to throw that far, and then some good coverage. Like you said, Nelson was being covered by Darius Slay a lot, so that kind of held down his end of the deal. 4 catches, 35 yards, not too much coming from Nelson. Devontae Adams had an okay game, 7 catches, 53 yards. But as you brought up earlier, if it was Aaron, it would be at least 80 yards. I would say more close to 100. Knowing Devontae Adams, he would be getting more deep threats. So pretty interesting on the stat line here. Hopefully Brett Hundley continues to throw the ball, or they're letting him throw the ball deeper, but you can't get much effectiveness out of your receivers if most of their throws are within 3 to 5 yards. So nobody stood out for me on Green Bay, but good stuff from Tate and Johnson. We'll be getting Mitch shortly. Is he coming back?
Oh,
there
sorry.
He is.
I thought I was already on.
No.
Defensively for Detroit, Jarrad Davis led the way, 8 total tackles. He's been a great addition for this defense. He's that modern day linebacker. He can cover, he can run well. He's, a shifty version between safety linebacker. He's a good player, and he's showed up from day one on this defense. Glover Quinn, 7 tackles, another really underrated player for the Lions. Interception machine, didn't have one in this game, but had a tackle for loss. Whitehead had a sack, was more effective as a pass rusher in this game, hit the quarterback once, had 2 tackles for loss. Who else? Tavon Wilson, former Patriot, had a sack. What else? I know that Gruden really liked Ashawn Robinson filling in for Haloti Ngata, which was a huge question mark. Ezekiel Ansah had 2 tackles, kind of quiet, had to hit the quarterback 1 time. Slay,
he's been quiet all season.
Slay, usually when he's quiet, he's good. 1 tackle, 1 pass deflection. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the defense. But I thought the defense played a good game for the most part. The Lions defense isn't a dominant defense. It's not a defense that's going to take over a game, but it's a defense that's going to occasionally force turnovers. It's going to bend but don't break. That's AC's favorite term, and it's going to do its job, especially, and it complements the offense well. For the Packers, their defense was straight up god-awful. In the run game, they were good, which the Packers typically are, but against the pass, which was the only thing they really needed to worry about, considering Abdullah probably will run into his own offensive line and fall down for 2 yards. Martinez had 10 tackles. House 9. This is a concerning thing. When you have 4 players in the secondary that are top 5 in your tackles, they have House 9, Josh Jones 8, Clinton Dix 5, Morgan Burnett 5, and then after that you have Randall 4. So I mean, that's not very good.
That's great. I don't know what you're talking
they
about.
did have a sack in this game against an offensive line that's being patched together. That's not very impressive. I still think that they've missed Micah Hyde. I think that they've missed Peppers. I think that they've missed a lot of their players that they let go of in this free agency that I told you so they would miss, but everyone's like, no, Packers this.
No, I really said Hyde was going to be a big miss. But
whatever, man. By the way, Hyde is playing really, really well in Buffalo.
Buffalo, which is a good.
He could make the Pro Bowl. So, but he never really played enough for the Packers. Like everyone's like, oh, Micah Hyde was a backup. Well, maybe you should have played him. Yeah, dumbasses. Anyways, what did you think of the 2 defenses today?
For Detroit, I like what I saw out of this group. Jarrad Davis, I think, played well. Made some really nice plays. Glover Quinn, it's really nice to see him play well. He's been one of the more underrated players this season, and I like when he gets production out there. Darius Slay doesn't fill up the stat chart, but he definitely makes a lot of key plays that you don't really see, and he holds his receivers that he's covering to minimal gains. So Darius Slay gets recognition for me. Ziggy Ansah has been super quiet. He has 4 sacks. 3 of them came against the Giants in the other Monday Night Football game the Detroit Lions played in week 2. So he's been pretty quiet after that game. I thought he would be a little bit more of an impact, but good defensive play calls, good defensive plays. I like them stifling up the offense for the Packers and not getting them much efficiency, and especially getting it stops on 3rd down. The Lions went 8 of 13, like I brought up earlier. Packers were 2 of 9 from 3rd down efficiency. So good stuff by the Detroit defense. For the Green Bay Packer defense, the complete opposite story happened. Blake Martinez is their only healthy linebacker, and it shows in the stat line because he got 10 tackles today.
They had some guy wearing 45 at linebacker.
That's great. 45. They
Unless you're David Harris, it's not good.
Yes.
Who only plays like 4
when I look at this team, like you said, cornerbacks, safeties, they're getting tackles. That's not good. They got 1 sack, a half sack from Perry, and a half sack from Lowry. They had Beagle, this was his first start today because the injuries and such. They hope he's good, but he didn't show out that much. This is kind of a pathetic performance. They weren't able to, third downs, they were definitely not able to stop. Unless if they were near the red zone, because of course the Lions aren't able to figure it out in the red zone sometimes. You're having your cornerbacks make the tackles after long completions. Marvin Jones and Golden Tate were able to pretty much lay themselves out there on the field and not really get stopped. 107 and 113 yards. That equals to bad defense pretty much every single time. So,
well, you knew it was going to 1 or 2 guys, and they just completed it every time.
I mean, if 14 completions are going to 2 receivers, I feel like a defense has to go like, come on, man. Let's just go cover them. Shit, they're not going to do anything else. They're not going to throw to Eric Ebron because he's been a failure in Detroit. And yet they were just completely ineffective every single time. But like you said earlier, the loss of Peppers and Hyde are 2 huge losses that we brought up in the offseason. And it certainly shows. They weren't even that – they were very weak last year. And now they're even weaker this year, and it really shows, especially when you don't have Aaron Rodgers helping you out on the offensive side of the ball. The defense really shows its weaknesses without that.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. Yeah, this defense, like, considering that when your quarterback is out, you need your defense to rise to the occasion. They haven't been able to do that, so that's why they're still losing games. So that's pretty much us covering the game there. I don't really have much else to say. Lions dominated it. Packers didn't put up much of a fight. It's a team that we knew what was going to happen. Without Aaron Rodgers, they're not much.
Except for Kev. He did not know.
Except for Kev. Let's get to the comments, Dylan.
All right, comments. Bodo says, boring game. Packers are a mess. And with Rodgers and his long drives, it shows how bad the defense is. I don't think the Lions punted once. They did not. And he says, no, the Lions will still not make the wild card. How do you feel about that?
I think they can. I don't think we should count them out. I think they're in the conversation.
Yeah, they're definitely in the conversation, for sure. Major Slugger says Lions got screwed out of the Atlanta game, which is very true. He also says that the Lions are the favorite to win the NFC North. I would disagree with that as well. He says he's not buying Minnesota and Green Bay season is done. I think they're definitely a chance at a wild card, and I don't think they'll win their division. I don't think they're the favorite.
Looking at their schedule, okay, they play the Browns next week. Let's just put a W next to that, okay? They play in Chicago. That'll be tough. Mm-hmm. They play the Vikings at home.
That'll be tough.
They play the Ravens in Baltimore. They play the Tampa Bay Bucks. They play the Bears at home. They play the Bengals. And they play the Packers again.
I think there's no game where I'm giving them the L automatically.
Yeah, like there's no like, oh my God, that's a loss. Like I think the most likely losses are probably in Chicago actually, and against the Vikings.
Yeah,
those are the most likely ones. But even if they have 2 losses there, they finish 10-6.
I think that Thanksgiving game's critical though, because the Vikings need to win that game. Because that'll be
because if the Vikings slip up now, like clicking on the Vikings schedule, I don't know really what it's like because we haven't really focused on them. Now, I believe that the Vikings are a solid team, and I think that they're going to make the playoffs regardless. But they have a tough schedule. The Vikings have a much tougher schedule.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
They play the Falcons in Atlanta. They play the Panthers in Carolina. They play Detroit. They play, and then they play some of the same. They play the Rams. They play in Washington. That's not easy. Then they play the Bengals in Green Bay, and you don't know about those Green Bay games because Detroit plays week 17, and Vikings play them week 16. So you never know. Aaron Rodgers could be playing in that game. You don't know.
He could. He could.
Probably not. We don't know that, though. And then the Bears' last game of the season. So, I mean, there's still a chance that the Lions can win this division. I don't think we should rule that out.
No, I'm not saying that. I just don't think they're the favorites. I wouldn't put them.
No, I don't think they're the favorites because of the records. But this is a much tougher schedule than the Lions.
Yeah, but I think their defense is going to show out. We'll see. We'll see. Russell Wilson says, I took a massive L. Yes, you did. Thank you for acknowledging that. Kev would love to see that. Bodo says, Minnesota has a good D, and he told me the correct answer is turkey hole. Mitch, search up turkey hole.
Turkey hole.
It is a weird.
I'm pretty sure that's only a Gruden thing. What do you think that about Gruden potentially coming back and coaching the Bucs?
He couldn't be worse than what they've got right now. I've always liked Gruden. You know, like I think he's like a smart kind of guy. He just doesn't show his personality off that well on TV. I like the prospect. I think he can work with Jameis Winston quite well.
Okay, so on a website called awfulannouncing.com, they have an article about John Gruden telling us about the turkey hole.
Oh, okay. Okay. There's a such thing as that. Because I was like, why is it called the turkey hole, though? I got late into the conversation on that one, so I have to figure that out.
I think it's just Jay Gruden who calls it that. Or like very limited amount of people.
He probably made up some bullshit term, but why would it be
play spider Y2 banana?
But why would it be called turkey hole? That isn't.
I don't know, but it's like the space between the safety and the corner.
There's a hole, but why does it need to be? Because it's Thanksgiving season. That doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
It's John Gruden. Not much makes sense.
Bodo can hold the L on the Romo comment. I don't know what he's. Now he just got into Spider-Man. If you could be bitten, I don't know if you want to answer this. If you could be bitten by a radioactive animal, insect, reptile, and then get their superpowers like Spider-Man, what would it be? What superpowers would you?
Spider-Man.
Want to?
I would want to be Spider-Man.
You would just. I think he's saying like you get one power, not you just get to become Spider-Man. I don't think that's fair. It'd just be like, I'll be Spider-Man.
The fuck? Well, I want to be Spider-Man.
No, you don't get to be Spider-Man.
Okay, well then let me think.
What superpower would you get?
I'd want to be able to fly. So no, actually I'm thinking about this. This is tough because you could go, I don't know the effects. Are there effects on my body? Like, will I grow wings if I'm like bit by it like a falcon? Like, do I get like wings? Or if I want to be able to swim like a shark underwater, like Aquaman, do I have to be like say I want to be Jason Momoa now?
Okay.
Do I have to be like bit by a shark? But then I'll have like gills on the side. Like, do I have effects of the physical appearance? Because Spider-Man does not. So if we're going on the thing of Spider-Man, then I would probably choose rather the ability to swim underwater with it being normal, or flying. But if it was just a normal thing where I would have to like take an appearance of something, I would probably have to. I don't think there would be much side effect to being bit by a cheetah, so I would just choose to be really, really fast.
That's a great one. Being bit by a cheetah, and there you go. You get the speed factor.
So then I could be like, Usain, get the out of here, boy.
Usain, it's over. It's over, mate. Well, then I can just say Michael Phelps. It's done. I'm swimming. I'm out swimming your ass. That'd be good shit. Major Slugger says, if Detroit Lions don't win the NFC North, Jim Caldwell should be fired. How do you feel about that?
Jim Caldwell is a coach that's always going to make a team decent, but he's never going to put the team over the top. I wish the Lions had a better coach. I don't think Caldwell is a great coach. I've never been a huge fan of him, but I don't think he's a bad coach either. So I don't know.
He hasn't coached like badly enough for me to go, you need to be fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, The reason why is they have Stafford. So I feel like if they didn't have Stafford, this would be a totally different discussion, and he probably wouldn't have a job. But because he has Stafford, and every place he's had a quarterback, he's been decently successful. So you got to give him that at least.
I'll give him the win on that one. So I actually got a comment saying I should make another video about the Saints. Considering how many comments I got when that video was released about not doing that, we'll see. But I do appreciate somebody like that. But actually, over 100 likes on that video, guys. 9K views. I appreciate that.
That's Dylan's biggest video of all time, I think.
Nah. I got a couple more. More. That might be that's my second biggest.
The video you're most proud of, Dylan?
Considering I got yelled out for 2 mistakes, I don't know. Okay. I am very happy about it.
You do need. I'm gonna shout you out right here. I'm gonna tear you down right now. You need to stop using KindMaster, bro. I gotta watch your videos and look at that big freaking watermark that says KindMaster on it. Can you get rid of that?
I mean, it's effective, ain't it? I mean, good video, good shit comes out of that. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. We'll put a bottom line view bar over KindMaster.
Yeah, like at least can you cover it or no?
I think it's a watermark you can't cover.
So you gotta get rid of that shit.
I have to pay for it.
Can't be one day having all these subscribers and using KindMaster, bro.
I mean, shit. Can you pay for it? Can it come out of the account? I don't know. Shit.
I'll pay for it. What do you got?
All right, bet. It costs like $20.
I'll buy you like a pro director. I'll get you like a $50, $100 one. Shit.
Somebody got to teach me, actually teach me how to edit though, because I can edit on this phone. Well, I don't know shit about otherwise. So. But I will tell you, I did see a local commercial today, and I was like, I'm a pretty bad editor, but I can do better than that. So I have now figured out where I am.
Oh my God, there's this one commercial. I have the CTV, it's a Canadian CTV app for my shows that I watch, and there's this one commercial that. It's struggling with your student debt. It's the worst acting I've ever heard in my life. It's terrible. It's this old guy that's ugly as ball sacks, and he's on there. It's the worst commercial on TV.
That's gold right there. Just these random local commercials. I cringe at all the time. I'm like,
all right, guys, who's ready for Dilly Vanilli versus AC?
Y'all are
ready for that.
But you're trying to pump it up.
Dylan, I'm legitimately you need to tear down AC right now. You need to get on him. You need to beat him down.
We're not even in the week yet. We're not.
This is a WrestleMania main event. You need to go for it, bro. You need to cut a promo on him. You need to make a video of you cutting a promo.
See, I'm a face though, man. Faces don't just
even Macho Man could be in it. Whatever you want, you just
Macho Man, get the Dallas Cowboys.
You need to cut a promo on this man.
Macho Man does love the Cowboys, though. I will say that much. The thing is, I'm a face, man. AC's the heel. AC,
but I don't know. AC's kind of a face because I'm the heel.
No, but then he makes that's true. He's a tweener.
Maybe he's a tweener.
Yeah, there it is. I need to find an Eagle shirt and then just Hulkamania. Yeah.
Get a $2 Eagle shirt. I'm sure there's tons of those around.
Oh yeah, in Dallas. Yeah, totally.
All right.
Okay, we still got a couple more comments. We'll be off here.
Okay, we should wrap up.
Let's see here. Fact or fiction? Jason Licht will be fired with Derek Coder in Tampa Bay. So should they both? Who? I think it's the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay. Should him and Dirk Coder?
Honestly, I didn't know the offensive coordinator.
I didn't either.
But no, because I actually think that the Bucs have been good on offense for the most part. I think most of their offensive struggles have been Jameis Winston related.
Yeah,
honestly, and I'm a big Jameis Winston fan. But one, he's been hurt the last 3 weeks. He couldn't even finish the game, and even when he was healthy, he was making too many mistakes that he shouldn't be making.
So is my tweet that I tweeted out before the draft
still
accurate?
No, you know what's funny about that draft, though? Marcus Mariota or Jameis Winston have not proven themselves to be really good quarterbacks quite yet.
That's true.
There have already been quarterbacks that have passed them already. So,
well, considering they were the 2015 draft and the 2016 draft had Goff and Wentz, and they're leading their teams to success.
I would still say that Goff isn't very
Goff
good.
isn't great, but he's working in the system.
Okay, if Jameis had McVay, Jameis would be better than Goff, for sure.
But at least Wentz is providing it.
Okay, yes, Wentz.
Okay, I just want to make
sure. I'll give you Wentz. Browns won't take him, but I'll give you Wentz.
Oh, we didn't even know who Light is. He's the GM. Okay.
Oh.
So,
yes, their GM should be fired.
All right, there we go. Now we feel.
See, I didn't know. I didn't know. I only know like probably 10 to 12 GMs.
I don't know a lot of GMs off the top of my head. I mean,
like all I know is like, yeah, I'd have to search them up, but yeah, weird. I don't know a lot of their names. They're kind of a quiet position.
Rob says Beathard isn't half bad. The O-line is atrocious.
No, he's trash.
Terrible. I'm sorry. I mean, their offensive line is awful, but Beathard.
Did you just say Goffle?
Goffle. God awful. I got to combine words together at this point.
I thought you meant like Jared Goffle.
Oh, that would have been great. Man, I should have used that for the things people do say in the NFL in 2017.
Yeah, you didn't even make that video.
No, I didn't. Because then it would just be too positive. It'd be like,
I guess.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers can make a great throw. Well, no shit. And then freaking, the ones that they don't say, some of them have been proven right, which is weird. I don't.
All right, bro, you got to cut that promo.
Well, even Bodo's wanting this promo. I mean,
see, Bodo wants it.
I'll tease it. That promo's coming. All right, I'll just go into AEC. Listen,
you gotta be like Davari on him. Davari.
That's shout out to GM Mode, one of the best series we have here. Coming back next summer. That's a long shout out. That's like a movie shout out.
Potentially, yeah. We'll see.
That is it for. Oh wait, we got one more comment. Does Denver trade for Eli? No.
Maybe.
No. Do you hear McAdoo is considering benching him?
It should. He sucks.
That would break the longest streak in the NFL.
McAdoo should freaking retire too. He sucks.
McAdoo should retire. He should be fired.
Both of them should retire. He should at least retire his haircut.
Ah, yes. It looks awful. He's had 207 consecutive starts, Eli Manning.
Well, he's not touching Brett Favre anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I didn't say he was. He would have to play for another 6 seasons. He's not good right now. He's not good now, so it ain't gonna happen. I guess we can get some plugs and then bounce.
All right, what's your plugs? We have a big meeting coming up.
Yes, we do. Well, you brought it up, so I'll plug it. We do have a meeting coming up very soon to discuss the future of the channel. And depending on what kind of content we'll be releasing on here. That's all I'll say. I won't put much more into that part, but you'll find out later, sooner rather than later. Tomorrow, after the 30 for 30, Ric Flair 30 for 30 on ESPN, I will be watching. I will be doing a live stream review of the 30 for 30 because I did that with OJ.
Woo!
Woo! So if you guys enjoyed the wrestling content that hasn't been on this channel for a while, or more significantly, you can watch some old school wrestling with that documentary and watch a good 30 for 30 review because I've done those before. So stay tuned tomorrow. About 11 o'clock Central Time, I'll be on here reviewing and recapping the 30 for 30 for Mr. Ric Flair. So plugs for me.
All right. For me, I don't know when I'm going to do my top 5 contenders. It's rather going to be
Wasn't that supposed to come out 3 weeks ago?
No, because I want to do it closer to the playoffs. So I was thinking rather this week or next week. Whenever I have time. It's this week or next week. One or the other.
Have you made a topic video?
My last topic video was a week ago.
About a week ago. That's a Bobby Shmurda. Anybody know Bobby Shmurda? Hit me up because that's greatness. But yeah, good stuff. I like that. Contenders or
but everything else is just normal. You know the routine.
You know the deal. Recaps, predictions, preview on Wednesday. I mean, it's fire.
Yep, and all this NFL might be even ramped up to the next level. We'll see what happens.
You never know. You never know. We'll see.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Mitch, Dylan, Lions take it over the Pack. Lions to the offs? Question mark. We will see. Peace.
Peace.